become super popular during this crazy time we're all in is making your own bread from home, specifically sourdough. Everyone's really getting into that. So this here is Stuart, my sourdough starter. I made this earlier this year, and I use the recipe, well, I'll say there are so many different variations out there. It's such a science, and everyone kind of has their own opinion, and there's a lot of right ways to do this. I personally used the King Arthur recipe, so go to kingarthurbaking.com and you can find this sourdough starter recipe, which is what I am using here. So this tutorial is going to be about just feeding your starter. So it's not me making it from scratch. I might do that down the road. But if anyone was gifted a starter or something like that and you just want to know how to keep it alive, that's what this is going to be about today. So step number one is to discard most of the starter. I know it seems crazy and wasteful, but it has to be done so that you don't have an outrageous amount of starter in your fridge, and so that the yeast cells have room to eat. You can gift your discard to someone else, or you can use it for a lot of recipes. King Arthur actually has a ton of options for how to use your discard in recipes. So what I'm doing is just pulling out enough to leave 113 grams in my jar, which at this point I'm eyeballing, but you can weigh it. It's gonna look like just about a half cup. So now that we've taken out the excess, we're gonna feed him. So I'm gonna go ahead and weigh this. I have started to eyeball it just because I've kind of learned the feel for this specific guy, but everything is 113 grams. So now that we've taken out 113 grams, I'm gonna add 113 grams of flour, which is just under 1 cup. So we just want to take that flour, put it in our jar. Now if you don't have a kitchen scale, you can absolutely just measure this. The recipe says scant 1 cup, so you're just a little less than 1 cup for the flour. Then you're gonna add 113 grams of lukewarm water. Whoops, here. Which is half a cup. I like to start with kind of a corkscrew motion to get it started, to keep the flour from flying all over the place. Then just start to mix it all together. You want to make sure that everything's incorporated, that you don't have any bits of dry flour left. Takes a little bit of effort. So you'll just want to take a peek all around the jar and make sure you don't see anything that's not mixed in. And once you're good there, you want to let it sit out for a few hours just to get it going, and then you'll cover it with the lid, but don't screw it tight, just loosely there so it doesn't pull off, but not all the way airtight. And then you'll just store it in the fridge, and you do this once a week. That's it. So if you're planning on making some bread rather than just feeding your starter for the week, you're gonna want to start the day before. So you'll feed it, let it sit for about 6 hours or so to grow, feed it again, at least I like to, just to make it stronger, let it sit for another 6 to 8 hours. And then from there, you've got a pretty strong starter. You'll have small bubbles and large bubbles, maybe layers even if you're lucky. And then you can use that starter in your dough. And again, like I said before, there are so many variations to this. Some people want a larger amount for making more bread. Some people just use whole wheat. I used rye in the beginning, and now I just use all-purpose, but some people are strictly whole wheat all the way. So there are so many variations to this, and I'd love to hear some of your things that you guys have learned during all of this time, or maybe you've known it for a long time, who knows. But yeah, just keep an open mind with Sourdough Starter. There's lots out there. This is just kind of my version of how I keep mine fed. It smells really, really good. Say bye to Stuart.